All right, so hello everybody. I'm Nate Szczesiul, as many of you may or may not know, and I do run ACS Automotive, which is an incredibly unique kind of offering that we have here, a unique solution set and situation for, I would say, agents such as yourselves. The reason why, first and foremost, is because most of you on this call, or who's, read AIs or whatnot are on this call, are used to selling telecom, right? And you're just selling traditional telecom, UCaaS, infrastructure, networking type stuff, right? Circuitry, maybe some SD-WAN here and there, but your ticket is pretty low. And you are probably one of the smartest, most reliable vendors that these dealerships have, right? Some of you have long-standing relationships, so on and so forth. But the reality is there is so much tech in automotive that is unsupported, non-secure, doesn't do what it says it's supposed to do. And so that's what we've done over the past decade now, is literally assess automotive tech, everything out there in given situations, spending months of due diligence to then bring it into our portfolio of technology. And this started one at a time. So these analyses would take months. In the case of credit card processing, it took 6 months because I personally went out and assessed, got basically licensing to become a processor myself. And then leverage, that knowledge plus, other resources to assess all these different providers. Well, the reality is, what we have in this tech stack has been sussed out from a security standpoint, which I know all of you care most about, right? No smoke and mirrors here. Everything is truly set up properly. It's real-time redundant as it's supposed to be, because especially if you deal with larger groups, they can't go down. They can't lose this tool, that they're depending on a daily basis, even if it's just a reporting thing. And so security has already been sussed out. On top of that, because these are automotive vendors, right? These are not your enterprise solution providers like your AT&Ts, your Verizons, your Go-Tos, your Ring, so on and so forth, right? We need to hold them to a higher level of accountability. So what we do, or what we've done, is we actually write into these contracts and have agreements with these providers to support us better, than they're supporting their own clients. And they have to adhere to what we need. Otherwise, we can walk away. We can pull clients out of contracts, so on and so forth. And so I want you to understand that this is truly a better experience by going through us. Now, lastly, we have pricing parity. So what does pricing parity mean? Pricing parity means that we can offer lowest pricing. Well, here's the difference. Everyone else who's selling to them as a vendor is selling one solution. And what are they trying to do? They're trying to make the highest margin possible. Whereas we get to come in and we get to partner with you as the agent and say, listen, you might be looking at an Impel for AI or a Mia for AI or this or that, but every single one of these is going to try and charge you $2,000, $2,500, $3,000 a month for that service. Whereas we're going to say, no, you know what? We can actually do this for $1,750, or we can do this for $1,500, because in reality, you've already won them over as a client. Now you're just deepening the respect that they have for you, deepening that relationship. And so we don't need to make high margin. We can make low margin, and you as agents can all rest assured that we are getting the highest rev shares possible at the same time. So we're offering the best pricing. We're getting an additional level of support. We've already vetted all this tech and smoke and mirror stuff and making sure it's secure and they're not making bad decisions. The one thing I forgot is we've actually tested integration points with CRMs, with DMSs, with inventory management, service schedulers, so on and so forth. So we are making this a headache-free opportunity for these dealers at the lowest cost possible. We don't charge anything for what we do. If you guys charge for your consulting, that's totally fine. I don't have any opinion on that, neither does the rest of our team. But we do have a team of people here who have different expertise, right? Some are going to be in the marketing side. My expertise, just like yours, are on the telecom side. I have a background in finance, so I can help with the financial solutions. And obviously, yes, I've had a hand in everything that's gone in because I started building this. We've added people as we've gone, and now we've got a team of folks who review technology, 6 to as many as 12 people, depending on what that technology is. So with that, I hope everything makes sense. And Sergio, I don't know if you want me to just continue on or if you wanted to have this be more of kind of a back and forth in this, but I'm happy to continue on. And if people have questions, I think that's fine too.
Yeah. The one thing forgot to mention, any questions, we'll just add them to the chat. We'll address them at the end of the call. But yeah, feel free to kind of work through the slides and just to kind of give everybody an overview.
Okay. So as I said, you guys and girls have been selling telecom, right? Maybe your automotive dealerships that you work with, you're making $500 a month. If you're really lucky, maybe you're making $700 a month. Well, we have agents currently who are making $3,000 a month per location, right? I mean, even more. And the opportunity that we have with some of the new solutions out there, I mean, it's really an incredible situation. And just so you all understand how this works, if you haven't spoken to me or someone on the ACS Automotive side in the past, is that we will be on that first call with you. It doesn't affect anything in terms of your payout. And we will help you kind of represent and ask the right questions because we do it in a consultative way, right? We do it in a needs analysis way. What are your pain points? How can we fill them with the right technology? What are the processes you're trying to, create? And what are the bottlenecks that you have there? We're used to speaking auto talk across every department within automotive. And if that's not something you feel comfortable with, then bring us in. We don't have to be ACS. We can just be, a automotive, partner that you have who focuses on the technologies that you have access to in the automotive side. And you have access to all of our references. Okay. And when I say all of our references, this means that, we have agents who have accepted the, we can reference or Gurley Leaps, we can reference Cardinelli's, we can reference AutoNations and Hendricks and Hudson's and LaFontaines and McGoverns and Empires, and the list goes on of large dealership groups that we work with because we work with a large amount of them with our agents. But everyone on the auto side is really, they would rather we win more business under ACS Auto because it helps them expand to the footprint that they have within the dealership just by us having recognition elsewhere, if that makes sense. I do speak from time to time at 20 groups, IT 20 groups on the dealership side as well. So we only grow ACS's, name sake by word of mouth, by referral, by agents bringing us into, more and more groups. So with that, I'm going to keep moving and kind of get a little bit deeper into, the types of technologies that we have. Actually, I guess first we're going to talk about, exactly what it is we're doing here. So, currently we are advising on over 2,500 dealerships across the country. Again, I am here, my team is here to help you and your agents, your agency. If you're a solo agent, that's great. We'll work with you directly. Try to win as much automotive business with the dealerships that you currently work with. This savings is actually more on the telecom side than anything else, which we're happy to help with as well. Hopefully you're all using ACS, not just for the automotive side, but for the rest of it, because, we have just a lot better experiences, across the board, both as an agent as well as, from a client perspective. And on, in terms of billing, what we're billing right now, and this even includes a lot of these automotive solutions, but is between 200,000 monthly and 50 million, right? And then obviously the bigger ones are the telecom side of the house. But the point is here, because we've leveraged ACS as we've gone into these relationships, as I've already said, this is just a better experience for your dealers. They're looking at the same provider, and I said Impel once, but they're a great example, of getting better support with us, getting better pricing. I had a dealer come to me with an agent, and the dealer said, hey, we're looking at Impel. Impel gave us pricing of $2,500 a month per store. We have 11 stores. And I said, okay, that's great. Well, we can do that same thing for $1,500 a month instead. And they said, well, if you can do that, get us agreements tomorrow. And we did. We got them agreements the next day. They signed the one store as a pilot. They signed the rest of the stores subsequently. And Impel, for example, is it's one of those solutions that pays out at a highest rate, right? Most of these things in our portfolio are paying house 20 to 25, which is, is good or best, right? That's like UCAS territory for everyone. And these things are all in perpetuity as well. I appreciate Eric and legal for, helping negotiate these relationships that we have, but it's why we're so different, right? This is truly a full breadth of technology within a dealership. And now we come to the page that really matters, right? And this is not even the full list. There are a few others that are on here that are not on here as well. But I think this is a great list to start with. And as you see here, we've got pre and post sales, right? We would call that variable ops. We have finance and infrastructure, right? That's a mix of IT, that's a mix of literally finance and back office people. And then we have service or fixed ops that's on here as well. And so I'm going to go through these solutions at a very high level, just kind of explaining to you what they do. And I know some of them are going to seem outside of your wheelhouse. Hey, I work in telecom. I sell telecom. How the hell am I going to sell this other stuff? The thing is, they are always looking to do things better. They're always looking to streamline the suppliers that they have. They're always looking for better integrations into the CRM and the DMS and the inventory management and the schedulers and so on. They're looking for better reporting. They're looking for things that work, that don't go down, that stop being headaches. And that's every single provider that we have in here. Okay? And some of them are slam dunks. Some of them might be easier for you to sell. Some of them might be more confusing. But that's why you bring us into the conversation. Again, my background is finance, so I can have conversations on ROIs and IRRs and talk about insurance and reinsurance programs and stuff like that on behalf of you, the agent, is solutions that we're trying to represent. And the goal here, again, is for you to win over your dealer, to get one or two, maybe three things more in, and just keep expanding. I will say the largest agent groups that we have upwards of 12, 13 solutions in them. So think of that recurring revenue, right? If you were making $700 before and you have 13, 14 different solutions, I mean, you're talking thousands of monthly per location, right? So if you bring a 10 location group, and it's 3,000 or 4,000 each, that could be $30,000, $40,000 a month to you. And you weren't making that previously. And that's what I can't stress enough to you. Such an incredible opportunity that we've created here, and we will even help you drive it, right? Give you talk tracks, share with you, materials that you can give in front of your dealers. But let me get into this, because Sergio, again, how much time do I have here? Are we until the top of the hour?
Yeah, top of the hour. You're all good, man. Thank you.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. So we're going to start here. In the first provider we have, I had him set it up this way. We could have gone more in depth into sales, marketing, so on and so forth. But is Auto Deal Reveal. So we have solutions here on the marketing and advertising side. This is one of them. This is actually a product that goes onto the dealer's website. So legally what happens is the OEMs say you cannot tell a client, every client, your lowest price. You can only show, up to this amount. So what Auto Deal Reveal does is it says, would you like to know the lowest pricing right now? You click yes. Okay, what does it do? It sends it, you fill in some information, you put in your name, you put in your email, you put in your phone number, right? So think of the dealer. The dealer is getting all this PII, all this information on that client that is going to be verifiable because it's going to have to send a text to that person in order to verify that that is correct. Once that is verified, we have a buyer who is a true buyer. We know who they are. And this is a huge problem with dealers is that they don't know, there's 5 entries under one person's name, and their CRMs or their sales systems are just a mess of just wrong information and people who, I'm, John Doe at gmail.com and so on and so forth, right? So those are unverified buyers. How are we, able to follow up with these people? Well, this gives us, the ability to do so because it's verifying, it's confirming who they are, and it sends them the best pricing. And we now know that we can follow up with them immediately because they just opted in as well, which is a great thing. So that's it in a very simple solution, and it's only $500 a month, right? So this is a great solution that's super low cost, great penetration. We have dozens of rooftops on it. It's one of the newer solutions that we have. And I think it's a really easy sale. Now, again, this goes to the marketing people, which you might not be privy to. But, this could be just a part of a bigger conversation that we have with your folks. BirdEye, on the other hand, is actually reputation management. So think about, hey, write a review for me. But it gets much more in depth than just a review. They help to automate, and feed in parts of information of, who was it that they saw, what was the car that they had, so on and so forth. So kind of more intelligent, utilizing AI to drive better responses, to drive text responses, to drive video responses, so on and so forth. Again, just a smart solution to help a dealer look better, to make sure that they have positive Google, social reviews, so on and so forth. As I continue, the next would be Brain Trust. So Brain Trust is what we call part of a data solution, so data aggregation. So these guys are software engineers, so they can build apps and so on and so forth for dealers. But what they really do is they love to clean up your data. As I already said, we have an issue in automotive with duplicates, triplicates, quads, so on and so forth, of just poor information in the CRM as well as in the DMS. And so what Brain Trust will do is they'll actually plug into that CRM and DMS, and they will clean it up systematically to help create a single client record. And then they'll utilize systems like Tealium, which you can see down here, which is considered a data collection platform, or in automotive, they call them customer data platforms, which is really just information about your people. All right, and in there we can store all kinds of information, and we can start gathering different things. What's this person's profile? Is he married? Is she married? Do they have a dog? Do they have kids? What's important? How do we market to them? And obviously with cookies and even non-cookies, just the ability to track people these days, there's just a lot of information that we can utilize. We can do geofencing and so on and so forth. If we see they're driving by a Jiffy Lube, send them, ads. I mean, there's so many different options that we can do utilizing someone like a Brain Trust in combination with a Tealium. And I'll get a little bit more into Tealium as we go. We just think of Brain Trust as data intelligence. They can build review platforms. They are also not even just for auto. They have a huge enterprise side that they work in, and they've helped some of our other clients in home services, as well as in healthcare, just solve some major data problems that they have. I'm going to jump ahead and talk about Car Cutter, and I'm also going to utilize Spyne, who's further down on this list at the same time. So back to dealers' websites. You have dealership groups who, in dealerships individually, that take photos of cars, right, that get uploaded onto the website. All different kinds of photos. Some are shot, and some are just shot freehand. Here's my iPhone, boom, I'm taking a photo. Others are utilizing some kind of platform that says, hey, the car has to fit within this frame, so on and so forth, right? That's more what the Car Cutter is, right? So it can develop purely AI photos from stock, so it chops the background and things like that. And that's really what Spyne does specifically. Car Cutter also has the ability to shoot images, of the specific cars, put them in a better backdrop. And you want this for consistency, right? With one of my agents right now, we're working with a dealer group by the name of Carter Myers, right? And we look at them and we say, hey, wow, you guys have like one one dealership is shooting them this way, another one is shooting them this way, another one's like helter skelter, right? The photos, some are hitting the car, some aren't. So, and so the point is to have consistency, have professionalism in this approach. And these are not high ticket item solutions, but again, how can we help the dealer do better what they're doing? They're so busy and caught up with their day-to-day. So what's the best way to be able to truly assist them in, anything, whether it's marketing, whether it's advertising, whether it's, point of sale solutions, so on and so forth. The list keeps going and going and going. So that covers Car Cutter as well as Spyne. Spyne also has an AI inbound outreach, but I would personally recommend another provider that we have for that. Their solution is not ready, and we will always tell you that too, right? We signed them for the imaging. We did not sign them for the AI piece that they have. So continuing on is DealerCX. I would say for you agents, this is probably a little bit of an uncomfortability zone, but what I want you to understand is that CRM, DMS, these main infrastructure systems, right? Like the main tools that they are using on a daily basis to sell cars, to service cars, to communicate with clients, are a disaster. They are not enterprise level solutions whatsoever. CDK was hacked 2 years ago because it's a piecemealed, hey, we bought another group, we bought another provider, kind of half immigrated them into a sort of way. But so DealerCX is a full CRM. They actually purchased a CRM, but it's a complete solution for communications that covers sales, that covers service, that covers parts, covers finance and reporting. And the reason why it's different is it's SOC 2, which nothing in that space is. And then, another reason why that it's different is because it is built on an AI model that does not go out and it's not white labeled ChatGPT or something like everyone is using. It actually sits in a box that sits inside your network. So there is no inherent risk or potential risk of a security breach because DealerCX is sitting in a box that is learning, it's machine learning, it's true AI, but it's doing that within your information. And it's a smarter way to do it. This tool is not just a CRM, it's a CRM. It's an inventory management solution. It's a service scheduler. We recently spoke with a group in the South, and they said that it would cover about 22 solutions that they have. 22 solutions. And it's one, okay? And it ranges in price, I would say, from probably $5,000 to $10,000 monthly, and this has a rev share in perpetuity, which there is no CRM, no DMS, nothing of its sort in the automotive space that offers that. But we have that, and you have that option, right? I mean, this is massive money on something that is stickier than telephony. Once it goes in, it will not come back out again, and I think it is by far and away the most advanced solution of its type. And it's not just me saying this, it's industry experts who are also saying this. This will be the next fad. So if you ask, your dealer, hey, how much do you hate your CRM? You should really take a look at this solution that we offer, or that we have the ability to put in front of you, however you want to say it, and we can talk about those ways, right? This is a ticket to a large amount of rev share in perpetuity that you or commission in perpetuity that you have while helping a dealer more than you ever could. And this CRM or command center also is powered by the phone system that you have sold them. So we can literally use that to send every text, every phone call communication, so on and so forth. So incredibly powerful tool. And I would say that that is something that I would lead with. We have been doing that with some of our agents, testing the waters, and have been having a tremendous amount of feedback in the positive area. And the bigger groups especially really get it. Some of the smallers are as well. I actually jumped off a call for an agent just before this with DealerCX specifically. So continuing on in here, we have Dealer OMG. So this is social. The partner that we chose for the social side of the house, was think of social advertising. He has a background from Meta, or actually from Facebook, helped them design the actual, webhooks and so on and so forth that they now have in their advertising side. So who better? When everyone else is doing these boring AIA ads, these guys are doing reels, they're doing videos, they're doing stuff that is actually drawing people in, bringing them into the dealership, and these are all monitorable, they're measurable, and they're driving success across numerous dealership groups that we have. So very, very smart on the advertising, marketing side. Driverseat and Space Auto, these are both website platforms, group website platforms. So dealerships have, I have my Nissan, I have my Ford, I have my Chevy site, so on and so forth, but they also have a group site. We are LaFontaine, we are AutoNation, we are Lithia, we are XYZ, right? And that site is just now starting to be used for advertising and for really pushing marketing budget into with these two providers. Hyper intelligent way of doing things, because instead of just pouring money into Ford, Nissan, Kia, blah, 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 they take a portion of those, push it into the group website platform, and we get more bang for our buck. Why? Because we have every single car in our inventory. We have 3,000 cars, but our Nissan store is only 100 of them, right? Why not advertise on that level? Why not market on that level? And obviously we're going to go higher up in rankings. There's going to be more people hitting that. It's going to be more actionable. It's integrated with the CRMs, so on and so forth. It's just a smarter way of doing things. And again, this is if you know somebody on the marketing side, or we get in and have a conversation about marketing. But some of the groups that we have doing this are very, very influential ones. And they've been very easy sells once we got in front of the person at the group, thanks to the agent. So continuing on, we have Impel and we have Mia. Both Impel and Mia are AI-driven communications, right? So think of a new lead comes in, this is on the sales side or the variable side, a new lead comes into the business. And it comes in from cars.com, it comes in from AutoTrainer, and it says, I'm Nate Szczesiul and I want to buy a Honda Civic, brand new Honda Civic, or a 2012 used one, depending on which Nate we're talking to. But that lead, it needs to be responded to basically instantaneously, because if it's not, we're going to lose that client. And both of these tools do that outreach on the sales side. They tie into the CRM, they tie into the inventory managements, right? They tie into the service side, into the service scheduler. They tie into the DMS. And the reason why they tie into all these systems is so they can answer every question about that car. They can say, does this car have ventilated seats? Yes, no. Does this car do this? Does this car do that? Yes, no. How many miles are on that? Do you have any others similar to? Impel just added voice where Mia is an inherent voice. Mia has a patent to their voice latency, right? You in telecom should know that, latency, lag time, right? So they have the lowest, it's just like a conversation that we would be having, right? 1.5 to 2 seconds of lag time in that. And so Mia has a distinct advantage right there. Mia also is working with some of the largest publicly traded groups out there. That is who we have in Hendrick, and that is who we have in Hudson, and it's who we're expanding in groups like AutoNation. and so on and so forth, Lithia as well. So, I mean, these are solutions that you should really consider because you have that sales part, and more importantly, just as an opener, right? A door opener, and you can call your dealership first, right? And just do this test. You can call them and just see, I want to schedule service. Is someone picking up the phone or more likely not picking up the phone? Or is there, some sort of auto attendant or AI that's answering the phone? At the very least, there should be something after hours. But what we've seen is most groups are moving towards this AI solution and service because service is busy in the bays, right? They're servicing the cars. They don't have time, so they're notorious for not picking up the phone. So the vast majority of groups we have, all of them in fact, are using service. Some are also adding sales, and Mia even has a parts piece that is rolling out now, and we have stores that are in beta, that are able to say, hey, this is my car, this is the last 6 of my VIN, I need this part, okay, that's great. We have it in stock, we don't. Here, I'm going to send you an invoice and a secure payment link, boom, pay that, it's done. This is major time savings. Mia is continuously innovating. Impel is bigger, they've been slower, but they're a long proven solution. And they also do merchandising. So that's also, comparing something like the car cutter and the Spyne that we talked about, they have that piece as well. But Mia, is our go-to AI solution in the present moment, and we have had a tremendous amount of success. We have hundreds and hundreds of rooftops with our agents who have brought us in front of them, and we have closed that business and compared and contrast all the other AI providers out there. And Mia really stands apart from the rest of them for those reasons. Also, what we have in place with Mia is a separate SLA. And so what that means is there is a developer on every call for a group of 10 stores or more, and they're going to put into effect whatever changes need to happen on a weekly basis. And that's unheard of. These automotive folks are not used to support like that. Enterprise level support, enterprise level onboarding, enterprise level communication. And that's what everyone here is doing, full customization, but I'm just using that example of Mia. Hopefully that rings through to you. So moving on, we have Reunion Marketing. Reunion is a digital marketing platform, marketing content creation, and SEO. And one of the reasons I love Reunion, and you should too, is this is an easy one for you. Even though you're like marketing, I don't know marketing, ask your dealer, are you guys happy currently with your SEO and with your advertising? Would you want a sanity check on it? Because what Reunion will do for free for us, they don't just go out and do this for everyone else, but they do it for ACS, and we also have preferential pricing with them, is that they will do an analysis of that group's SEO. So they'll say, okay, in your backyard, I'm a group, I have stores in Detroit, right? That's where I grew up. And in backyard, I do a great job of marketing. However, once I set foot west in the state and I'm over in the middle of the state in Lansing, or I go further over to Grand Rapids, I have people, other groups and other dealers that are taking business from me, but I don't even show up on the first 3 pages of Google for them. So what Reunion does is it assesses that and it says, you know what, we could gain more sales, we could gain more market share by just doing a little bit of advertising in these areas. And the next thing you know, month over month, boom, we're showing up 1, 2, 3, depending on the market, right, in Google. And now those are the ones that people are actually buying cars from, right, and servicing cars from, so on and so forth. The other thing that Reunion does is what's called GEO. So this is now where everyone's moving to, right? I go on my phone to ChatGPT, or I go on to Claude and I say, hey, where should I buy this car from, locally? And that LLM is pulling in all the good, all the bad, the Yelp reviews from 25 years ago. I mean, all this crap, right? And so what Reunion does is they go in and they clean that stuff up. They say, hey, this is your image in Geo, and we're actually going to clean this up instead for you. And this is what it could be like. And that way everyone's driving to you, every LLM, the Claudes, the ChatGPT, so on and so forth. And so these are really intelligent solutions that you would want. But the reality is Reunion will do this analysis for free for your dealer, and they'll do a 2-minute video with it. And it's just like kind of, hey, have a taste. Like this is, you're killing it here, and you have 0% penetration and all these other markets where you're competing, but you know, it's not your exact backyard. And you get to offer that for free. I mean, nothing is better than free. And we've picked up so many dealerships because of that very reason. Great provider. It's the only true advertising SEO provider that we have out here. Spyne, I told you already. Spyne is for merchandising. These are the photos that we put on the website. They do have some AI, but it is just not ready, unfortunately. When that changes, if that ever changes, you know, we'll let you know. Space Auto, as I said as well, this is a group website provider. They also have a CRM. They have a lot of AI built in and automated outreach built into their platform. So it is intelligent as well. But I would say if you're looking on the CRM side, the DealerCX is by far and away. But Space Auto is probably the top group website out there in terms of how fast it loads, in terms of building SEO into the actual website itself. Super, super smart. Driverseat, again, that's another option we have there, but just less. I apologize, I didn't close out my... Shoot, it's not letting me. Okay, sorry about that. Let me just quit this. Apologies. Too many things open. But so at Space Auto, I told you I would touch back on Tealium. So Tealium is really interesting because when you couple it, especially or not, with Brain Trust, what we try and do is create a single client record. That means that across all these systems that we use, we know who that client is. We know what they're doing on their websites. We see when they're interested in a car again, so we can hit them with an advert. We see when they're looking to, you know, switch their tires out, that sort of thing, so we can hit them with an advertising. So it really helps with automation of advertising as one, but it also helps with, you know, data analyses that, you know, people don't have the time to do, we don't think to do. For example, you know, all of a sudden, we just realized that we changed the, you know, the 40th, you know, Tahoe cabin air filter from 2022. What does that say? Well, we sold 900 more of them that year. Why don't we reach out to these clients and say, hey, your cabin air filter is probably, you know, on its way out. You know, let's give you an incentive for, you know, for a wheel alignment plus an oil change if you come in within the next month. That sort of thing, right? So it's trying to correlate your data and make sense of it in ways that you wouldn't even think to make sense of it. Hyper intelligent platform that we brought in actually from enterprise. Therefore, you also can use it outside of automotive, but for automotive purposes, you know, these customer data platforms are all, for the most part, just glorified marketing tools, whereas this is a true data analysis, rips data apart, you know, every which way, and can tell you, you know, what's going on with your sales, what's going on with your people who are selling, so on and so forth. 24/7 AI will round out our pre and post sales side. And this is another AI provider, hyper intelligent. This is more on the physical dynamic display advertisements where, you know, they can do different displays every single time, change colors to mimic people's Google, so on and so forth. It's more of a play for advertising agencies, I would say, unless you have really large groups. But they have a secondary piece that can power call centers. But I will tell you that automotive is notoriously low spender when it comes to telephony. So we do not have many groups who are using true CCAS out there, you know, to then add a tool such as 24/7 AI behind it for outreaches and things like that. But they work with companies, you know, not in automotive, with like United, and you know, some of the big airlines in terms of, you know, being on a conversation and sending additional information as we're talking, that sort of thing. So I'm going to move over to F&I. And on the F&I side, The first one that's here is AutoTrainer, right? So when I say F&I mean finance, right? This is the finance side of the house. This is something that I can articulate very well. And AutoTrainer is one, think of when the last time you bought a car, what happened? You went into that office and it was just like, tried to be upsold on every damn thing. I don't want that. Well, here it is anyway, so on and so forth. But so what this does, this tool, is an actual template that sits on their screen while they're going through this conversation with the client to ensure that they hit everything from a compliance standpoint, everything from a menu offering standpoint. And it also has continuous training. It does a report card on every single car deal, breaks the car deal down into 15 different places, where they're at. And then it has additional AI modules with different people, personas, different credit scores, incomes, family situations, pet situations, that you can try and work through on a continuous basis to get better and better. Well, the groups that we have that use this is the template itself are driving $300, $400, $500, $600 more per copy, per car sold, by adding this tool into their process. So massive results. One of the agents that brought me Napleton Automotive Group, this is one of the solutions that we put into them that they have been expanding with tremendous success. Their lowest performing store is selling cars now in terms of like adding ancillary services and so on and so forth, is now selling an extra $600, like $589 or something per car sold. I mean, that is a crazy amount of money to be driving in addition to just the car sale itself, where before, they might have been around break even. Very valuable tool. Better Vantage Point. So this is truly a consulting risk assessment, advisement that is an on-site consultant. We've got a group for one of our agents in the greater Savannah area that uses this with tremendous success, helps get them out of situations without having to pay for full legal counsel. We'll go and assess, some of the issues of law. They'll look at all the different things. Hey, these are compliance points that you need to be up on. Give them a checklist and help them work towards mitigating all of those. Smart solution. DealerPay. This is one that I would highly recommend, right? I said DealerCX. I told you Reunion is an easy one for you, but DealerPay, this is another infrastructure technology, just like telephony, just like internet circuits. This is point of sale and processing, right? Except it's not just a processor. This is Clover for dealers, meaning it integrates into their DMS. It helps them auto-reconcile on a monthly basis. It actually does batch reporting, which for bigger groups can save hundreds of accounting man hours, woman hours on a monthly basis to just run all sites at once. It allows for every single payment type, including crypto spot trades, your Venmos, your Zells, your PayPals. I mean, you name it, DealerPay is doing it. They are also the only fully compliant surcharge provider out there. So surcharging, yes, I'm charging the person the 3%. They are the only one who has transparency between an RO, right, a service order, as well as the terminal statement itself, because they are writing on every invoice and keeping it, here's a 3% addition for surcharge, so there is not an inconsistency, and they keep that in the back end. So there's no more paper trail needed. They don't need to print all this stuff, hold on to it in boxes, send it to Iron Mountain, pay for it to be held there, then pay for it to come back out so they can shred it, right? None of that. Additional savings right there. Huge savings, right? Berkshire Hathaway, smartest group out there. They are on this platform. Cardinelli Automotive Group is the first group that we brought it for. That was many years ago. That's when we brought this tool in. We've got, for an agent, Preston up in the Northeast is using this. We have never seen a dealer who has been unhappy once they've seen DealerPay. The time savings, the money savings are guaranteed as well. So guaranteed savings of money versus what they're spending today. Could you ask for anything more in terms of guaranteed savings, more efficiency, and better compliance, right? This thing was designed for dealers. As I said, this is Clover for a dealer. You are paid on both the system itself, right? There's a point of sale, and we're at 50% there. So whatever your share is after that, that is major. It could be $1,000 for the platform itself on a monthly basis. So, I mean, that's a huge ticket. And this is also something that's not coming out. We've never had a single group leave this platform. Most of these, to be honest, almost any of them, but that one specifically. And I think that is an easy, low-hanging fruit for you to pick up, telecom people. DealerCX is on here again because it really does touch everything across. On the finance side, it has better financial reporting than any tool that they're using currently. It has reporting like a Power BI, so on and so forth. It has AI, ask any questions. Hey, finance wants to know, how many cars did we sold? What's the ROI on what we did yesterday? Hey, we ran this campaign. What does it look like in terms of output? Anything. You ask it. It literally has AI built into it. Again, not ChatGPT AI, but just hyper intelligent AI that can give these answers. So back to DiCoSo now. DiCoSo is digital price tagging. So think of, hey, I've got my sticker on the car that needs to be updated every so often. That's a pain, for all of you who are in the Midwest or in the Northeast where it's cold. You're right, going into that car, opening up every single one, taking off the old sticker, putting on the new one. What if we had a digital tablet that had an 8-month battery life that we could then update pricing from everywhere remotely? That's DiCoSo for you. So intelligent pricing is what they do. To be honest, we don't have that many groups who are using it because most of our dealers have said, hey, this is not the most important thing to us. We'd rather do these others first. But it's there. It's a smart solution. I'm going through all these as I think you want me to. But let me keep going. So HR4, this is a true HRIS system. If anyone is unhappy with HR, this is another infrastructure tool. Obviously, this is very lucrative. This is a big ticket item for dealerships. But this is hiring. This is the actual platform. They're monitoring them, doing their reviews on, so on and so forth. It's HR. So if you get me or someone on the team in front of someone from finance, this is something that we can bring up with them. Ikon is actually a tool that is sold with a car. Think of it as a little, kind of like tracker that goes onto a car when it's sold. And what it does is it gives all, not just GPS location, right, like a low jack or, one of those type of things, but it also gives marketing data on what these people's driving is like, where they're passing. We want to use when do they pass the dealership to say, hey, maybe you should come by. We have some availability this day, this time. That's the kind of stuff that we can do with Ikon. This is a very lucrative solution. It pays out on a per car basis. And it's definitely something, if you'd like a deeper dive, we can have more of a talk into it because I realize that we're also getting closer into time here. Protect tires. This is another one that you're going to say, I'm a telecom person, I'm a tech person. How am I going to sell this? Well, as you are aware, because you've probably been sold one, everyone sells F&I packages when you're in that F&I office. Here's a tire and wheel package, right? People even sold nitrogen, which is just nothing, right? They're selling like air, literally, as part of your F&I package that comes with tire and wheel. Well, this is a solution that gets sprayed into a tire in less than a minute. They have a specific coupling that goes over it. The wheel doesn't have to come off, nothing like that. It is environmentally friendly. It can be cleaned out if there's ever a need to, but it prevents leaks. It prevents blowouts. They cannot happen when this liquid is put into the wheel. So from the reinsurance perspective, or what we're finding out is, they sell all these policies, but then, tires are $300-400 a tire these days, right? So every time they have an issue, that comes out against this nest egg that they had set aside, and those accounts actually sit offshores. They do loans against them, so they're big money makers for them, and they end up paying out sometimes even more than the whole thing was worth, right? You bought one of those for $600. You had 2 blown tires, and that's $800. Right? So, they're underwater then. But so Protect Tire is saving lives. It's preventing accidents. It's keeping, husbands, wives, kids from having, being stuck on the side of the road. Yes. But it's also finally giving them a product in their F&I offering That is not smoke and mirrors. That is not nitrogen, right? Something like that. This is a true, winner in terms of solution that, we have a group for one of our agents, and they said, we're going to front load it. We're going to put it on every single car, and we're going to sell it like this. We're going to say that come to us because we care. We care enough about your safety, right? And so this is a really easy conversation. We have had hand raisers galore, including from some of the biggest groups we work with that are starting pilots on it, because it just makes sense. This is a big, we are reducing loss ratios. These guys are not printing money like they were in COVID, or girls for that matter. But now we have something that can help prevent loss write-downs and help them make more money on their F&I side. I'm going to move forward into ZipDeal. ZipDeal is literally giving someone a tablet when they say, I want to buy this car, so they get to help customize things. They get to pick their radio stations, right? So we can see everybody who's using specific radio stations and go advertise to those. We're going to get, hype videos of finance products and extended, service contracts and things like that. And so we understand what this person is interested in. We're going to tell them about our, the different, deals we have for service and our collision centers and so on and so forth, and our consumer outreach. So they love this kind of stuff. And they're doing this to help reduce wait time, right? I mean, how many of you have sat there for a 2-hour wait time when you went to buy a car? Well, this helps reduce wait times drastically. We've seen it reduce them as much as 75% in the dealerships we put them in. And the customer thinks this experience is just better, right? We found it's really the sweet spot is probably less than 20 rooftops. We haven't had much success in groups over that size, but it's something that's, you put in, you have this customization done, and we get all this data out of it from the dealership perspective, from reporting perspective, but all that info is sent over to the finance person. And it makes that process go a lot quicker because we already know, hey, they're interested in this, they're interested in the silver package in terms of a service contract, yada, 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 right? So just helping the dealer operate more quickly, better customer experience overall. I'm going to get in here quickly to infrastructure. CyberFox is a PAM solution, right? Privileged access management. Dealerships are notorious for just having security issues. Sometimes they give out admin access to everyone in service because the OEM will push an update, and if that update isn't done, they can't actually service the car, right? So obviously that's scary. So these guys get to then proactively go in and say, hey, everything coming from these sites, it's approved. It will log in and do a timestamp of the IT manager saying, I approve this remotely, and it's all done automated. So hyper intelligent system on the security side. And it's a fraction of the cost of these major security solutions. It's $1 to $2 per endpoint. Call Review, this is, Call Review and GoTo are hands down the best phone solutions in automotive. Both of them are integrating with CRMs, with DMSs, doing screen pops, just helping push through information that should be there. And giving incredible breadth of reporting, especially Call Review even does real-time analysis of the call and can do real-time alerting, so we know if the call is going south, someone can jump into that, think CCAS, Whisper Barge, except it's out without the price tag of that. These are the two hands down best solutions. We can help you sell them. We can be on that first call, and these guys are great at selling their phone solutions. All of you know GoTo already. But if you go through us versus if you're with someone else, we have a dedicated automotive team who is the longest running auto team for onboarding and account management, period. They help us drive success. That's it. Jumping over to service, we talked about DealerPay, on the processing side. They can just operate a lot quicker. They don't have, terminals that go bad. They use the best quality stuff. DealerCX is integrated into service. As well. It has a service scheduler, for crying out loud, right? Impel has a service piece as well, where it can look for different service life cycles and reach out to people to try and bring them into the dealership, right? So kind of equity mining, so to speak. Mia can do that too. Mia does that as well as decline services, so they can send texts, they can do emails. They can even call out and do voice and say, hey, you've had declined service. Reunion marketing, we can do campaigns to bring service people in. And Purple Cloud is, it should actually be under infrastructure, But Purple Cloud is, integrating any phone system into the CRM and or the DMS of an automotive vendor. That was a nonstop rant. I talked a lot. We don't have too much time. I'm happy to go a little bit over, although I do have a call in 5 minutes, but I can go a few minutes over that. Does anyone have any questions? And I'm happy to have follow-up calls with you. But the reality is, get myself or someone on my team, like a Bob Rich or Chelsea, or it just depending on what you're looking for, do you want us to offer, or if you just want to bring us into an overall call with your group to do kind of a pain point analysis. We used to do, hey, give us all your bells and this and that, but they're too busy. So in a 30-minute conversation, we can find out anywhere from 1 to 5, 6 things that they're interested in, and start teeing up demos that you can be on with that client. You can learn more about the provider, and you're also welcome to do any demos in advance. But start testing these waters, because there is more money to be made here than there is in telecom, hands down. This is the fastest growing part of ACS. We run the only channel that exists in terms of automotive technology. With that, I'm finally going to stop talking and say, does anyone have a question about any of this? Is there anything that I can answer for you? Crickets.
I don't see any questions, Nate, but what I will do, we're going to send every partner a copy of the recording. We're going to send them the deck, and of course, provide your info for any follow-ups or just further questions about these providers, dealerships, ACS, all that good stuff.
Okay, excellent. And as we add more new providers, as you guys know, we'll Sergio and team will push that out through the normal channels. But I highly recommend that you start talking to your dealers and, at least trying out some of these solutions, and you will see how easy these sales are, what a pain that they have had. And once they trust you to start expanding into these groups is one of the most gratifying things. You're saving them time, you're saving them headache, you're giving them more time with their kids, right, with their spouse, whatever their situation is, more time to themselves, because everything they have now is broken and they're just using broken tools with no support. Every single thing here is an additional level of support that they can't get directly. Even with the publicly traded groups, they've said that we've never been supported this way. Well, that's why we're here. That's why you're going to be successful. So please feel free to reach out to myself. You can reach out to Sergio to help coordinate. I don't think we put my contact info in here. You can reach out to Bob as well, because Bob is helping me run the channel. I didn't even get into these pieces, but obviously, this is the other side of it, of just kind of the areas that we help with in the dealership. From phones and tracking, network and security, IT and BDC support, which a lot of you probably already have, that ability, especially if you're an MSP. Advertising, marketing, the web conversion stuff, the AI outreach and inbound for that matter, F&I efficiencies, processing, surcharging, the time savings, the money savings. I mean, this is literally a game changer, and that's what everyone has told us. Every major group that we've worked with, the agents have come back to us and said, man, I'm just so glad that I brought you in. And if any of you need any agent references too, just let me know, because we're happy to tee you up with some of them. I mean, these people are making incredible amounts of money, and the reality is you should be too. So with that, I'm just going to say thank you so much for your time today, especially all those Read AIs out there. And I look forward to helping you win more business with the dealers that you're working with and with new dealers that you put in front of us. This is the most rewarding thing I have ever done in my life. If you can't tell, I'm very passionate about it. And let's go help some dealers and make some money in the meantime. Thank you very much, and have a great rest of the week and weekend. Ciao.
Thank you, Nate. Thank you, everyone.